All right, back again with Andy Barquette. Going to go through another swing. This is a player who I believe was 15 and a half or 16 years old at the time of this video. So, Andy, what do you see?
Well, it's a very physical young man, especially for his age, and with a advanced move to the ball. So there's a lot of things I like about his swing and his movements. Number one, he's got a really good base right here, good strong workable stance. As he rocks back, again, I try to pay attention to getting into that hip and making sure he's not too far over his knee. But if you notice this angle that he gets back into when he rocks back, and I'll kind of go back and so you can see that how he gets into the hip right there, and he's not too much into his quad and over his foot. So I do like the load. That's one of the first things I look for is how a guy gets. Is he into the hip, or is he over the knee? Where is he loading into? And this guy looks like he's got a pretty good feel for getting into the back hip. He's obviously got the big leg kick, which can be beneficial. It can hurt you at times depending on the pitcher. As long as that foot gets down, and as you can see right there at foot plant, this back foot's still in the ground. He's in the ground right here. So this is a really good position. Knees are inside his feet. I like the angle the bat is loaded. It seems like there's a scap load back here where the elbow's up. So this guy is in a really good position to hit. So from here, his first move, then what I'm looking for is he getting behind the ball? Is that barrel turning, or is he making a direct movement to the ball, a push? So that's going to be the next thing I'm going to look for when I'm breaking down a swing. And it looks like to me he's getting on plane and getting behind the ball pretty good right here. It's kind of the pitch looks like it's up and in, so it's a little bit of a morphed move from a combined push, but the barrel gets turned behind and on plane, and then that back leg sinks at the same time. Again, this pitch seems like it might be up and in. There's the honey hole, and as he makes contact with the palm up, palm down, there's the barrel below the hands, and the hands above the baseball, above the pitch, which I like to see. The only thing about this that kind of I don't love is that he kind of cuts his swing off right here, never really gets to extension. Now, without really watching a ton of video on this kid, I don't know if that's a characteristic of his swing. Let's just say, for example, that it is, just for argument's sake. We would have to work on, getting him through the ball longer, getting a little length through his swing, because everything looks really good. But then there's this east to west move where he just violently, kind of cuts it off. And I would want him to really stay through this ball a little bit longer if possible. Again, if that was his normal move and it wasn't just a pitch that tied him up, I would want to see a guy just stay through the ball a little bit longer. There's a lot to like about this. So the only thing that I would nitpick if I was watching, if this was his swing all the time, let's say, I'd say, man, you're really good from A to B basically, but then B to C, we have to clean up a little bit because you're going to get exposed on sliders and fastballs away.
I think this is a good example of how pitch location can alter a swing. Once again, we're always trying to be cognizant in me learning from you of pitch location when you're analyzing a hitter's swing. And to your point, if this pitch is up and in, and he's making this move, I mean, as somebody that's learning from you, I feel like, okay, well, let's maybe try to do the dog toy and focus on pitches up and in if this is a characteristic of his swing. Or I guess where I'm going with this, Andy, is do you try to prescribe drills based on weaknesses that you potentially see in pitch location?
I prescribe the drills, to create better movements. And like if we were to put a Diamond Kinetics sensor or any type of measuring tool on this guy, his distance in the zone in this particular swing, and let's just assume for argument's sake that this is his normal move on all pitches. He doesn't stay in the zone very long. And so we would have to create some drills, or not create, but show him some drills and create a drill package for him where he is working on staying through the ball more consistently, because he does a lot of things really good. Like I love his gather. I love how he uses the ground. He's a strong, athletic kid. There's a big engine there. Like you and I have talked about many times, the barrel is going to go wherever engine basically drives it to. And if the engine, and which is the driving of the engine, is the path. So if the path is taking you anywhere east to west at all, then that's where your barrel is going to end up. So I would just want to show him some drills and get him moving and a feel for staying through the ball, so he has a little bit more length in his swing, so that he can get some more backspin and ball flight and be in the zone just a little bit longer. I mean, he gets in the zone really well right here, especially where this pitch location is. That ball's compressed well, but then he just violently cuts it off. And again, I'm nitpicking, and we're assuming, let's just say this is his swing all the time. We would want to clean that up a little bit, have a little, hey kid, you got a lot of great moves, but we got to clean this last part up for you to be more consistent.
So those are all really good points. I guess if I were to rephrase the question now that I've had the chance to kind of say it out loud, if his swing typically does not cut off, and he does get extension in his other swings, but when you look at this pitch location up and in, and it seems that it's pretty consistent that he seems to cut his swing off only on pitches up and in. Would you potentially work on that specific pitch location or that specific zone to maintain extension and swing through the ball?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, this guy, let's just say he like you said, for argument's sake, he gets through pitches really well, and just that up and in pitch gives him a little bit of trouble, or he cuts it off. I mean, I think that, hey man, we don't look up and in when you're attacking pitches middle away, you're attacking pitches down. That's your honey hole. That's your strength. We would maybe try to discuss cleaning up his move on pitches up and in, but at the end of the day, we're not going to really like violently change his swing up and in right here, because it's just too hard. It's too difficult to handle every pitch and have like every club perfect in your bag to be able to handle every shot. Just using a golf analogy, baseball is just, if you can get the barrel to the ball with this type of move on, let's just say this pitch is up and in and he does cut it off and that's an RBI knock to left. I mean, hey, I tip my hat, and it's not always going to be diagrammed perfectly like a golf swing. Just because there's too many variables. You have speed of the pitch, you have location of the pitch, you have, just lots of different things that will affect how impact is made. And so I wouldn't say that I would try to really change drastically anything here, other than, hey man, this might be a better way to go about attacking this pitch, or this might help you become more consistent on pitches up and in. But other than that, I really wouldn't do much different with him, because let's just say his swing, like you said, is really smooth getting through pitches. Then, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And sometimes you got to take a different approach to certain pitches to be able to survive and be able to muscle in that knock or get that ball in the air to drive that run in, or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of good movements, a lot of good things to like about this.
Educate me a little bit on arm bar. If I was looking at this, I'd almost say that front arm is barring at load. Am I wrong in assuming that? Is this a bad thing for him? Is it even an arm bar?
I don't really think it's an arm bar, because I think that he does a good job of getting right there behind the ball. You want that front arm to definitely move back and kind of just get set with that back leg, so you are behind the ball. You don't want it to obviously straighten out, and then you judge the arm bar really if it's really straightening out, and then his first move comes around the ball, then you can say, okay, there's a big arm bar there. But he's got pretty tight movements. Again, that front arm is giving him good direction right to the baseball right there, and so I really wouldn't say that that's a big arm bar. I'd say he does a good job getting behind the ball, and his movements stay pretty tight, it seems like, as he approaches the baseball.
What do you feel about the back foot dragging? I mean, obviously you don't want to just spin on it, and we've learned that in this course. We've
Hmm.
seen people that are pulling their back leg off the ground or having reciprocal movements. I think this is the
Hmm.
first guy that we've seen that is kind of dragging it along the back. And the reason I ask is because growing up, there was a lot of different ways to take speed off pitches as a pitcher, and sometimes
Hmm.
people would say, "Hey, if your changeup is too fast, drag your back leg. That'll slow down your momentum." Um,
Hmm.
how do you feel about this back leg dragging, and is this a natural movement?
Yeah, I think as long, I mean, he's in the ground, and then that back hip and glute is really driving forward. And again, that's what we look for. He's using the ground to do it. So there's lots of ways to skin the cat. Sometimes, the back foot will come off the ground. Sometimes it'll turn. Sometimes it'll drag. As long as it's releasing and it's turning into the baseball is what we're looking for. He does seem to be a little tied up. I'm thinking the pitch might have done it. So there might be a little 911 to that foot drag. Like I got to get my hip turned and this pitch is up and in. So
Hmm.
uh, I'm having to drag to get there. That could be a possibility. But as long as that he's using the ground and there's a sink with that backside to drive through the ball, then I'm okay with it.
Great. Well, that'll do it for this one. Thanks, Andy.
All right, thank you.